What's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages? Joker back again, once again. So Bungie did a TWAB, a This Week at Bungie, and they talked about the changes coming to Trials of Osiris. So let me rip myself away from my quest to become the best floor tank like nobody ever was, and talk about Destiny, because as we all know, Destiny makes us money. Trials of Osiris is getting some much needed changes. So we'll start with the changes coming to Trials of Osiris effective immediately. Wait, no. Hold on, I misspoke. I mean effective June 9th, 2020 during Season 11. You know, I wish I could blame this on current events. But, well, look at Bungie's track record. We all know that this is basically how this goes. A problem is happening this season, and it might get fixed next season, or the season after, or 6 months to a year to 2 years later. Look at trials, look at faction rallies, look at weapon balance, look at basically anything. Regardless of current events, the show must go on, so Bungie will be making the following changes to Trials of Osiris, in Season 11. Quote, problem. Token rewards incentivize players to farm to 3 wins and reset their card. Solution. In Season 11, we're planning on creating token payout milestones at 3, 5, and 7 wins that give successively larger chunks of tokens. Bonus token passages will increase these payouts, and on a flawless run, it will generate a significant token payout. Problem. Trials is unrewarding for players stuck at 1 and 2 wins. Solution. Create a weekly bounty that encourages participation each weekend and does not require match wins. When redeemed, the bounty will reward the same item that comes from the 3-win passage, unlocking the engram for purchase that week. Problem. Trials feels under-rewarding compared to other endgame activities. Solution. Inject more chances to earn masterworking material from Trials. Masterworking/infusion materials will come from 3, 5, and 7 win payouts in Season 11. We're also looking into possibly adding a new material-focused farming card in Season 12. These are our current plans for changes we want to make in the short term. Now remember, currently we're in Season 10. Season 10 lasts until June 9th, 2020, provided Season 11 doesn't get pushed out. Their long-term plans, like a new material-focused farming card, won't be around until Season 12. So currently, not for another 4 months. Actually, more like 5, because if it's part of the September DLC, that means it won't come out until the end of September. Provided that's not delayed into October or November like Shadowkeep. And who knows what that means for something like Adept weapons, something they're investigating, quote, we're also investigating improvements we can make in the long term. For example, you might be asking, what about Adept weapons? We're currently investigating a new form of Flawless Award weapons for a future season. They might not have the same name, but these weapons will have some differences in order to set them apart. Right now, we're currently looking at giving these weapons the ability to replace the weapon mod slot with an Adept mod slot, name may change, that can accept custom-built mods in addition to the normal list of weapon mods. All of this is subject to change as we continue to develop, but wanted to give you an early look. We'll share more details in the future. That all sounds great, splendid, spectacular, wonderful, but that's a Season 12 item, if not further out. So at that point, it's too little too late. You think that they would add the Season 11 changes almost effective immediately because all they're doing is tweaking reward values. And we've seen in the past, if something is super rewarding to players, they can nerf it almost instantly. But apparently, this needs to hold on until Season 11. And then Adept weapons, something you think would come out in Season 11, has to wait until Season 12.
But Joker, the current events! Bungie is doing their best!
I hear your shrill, tremulous voice wail. I'm actually not all that unsympathetic to that. And if Bungie came out and said that, hey, we have this plan for Adept weapons, and a new material-focused farming card, but that's all going to have to wait till Season 11. Here's some extra materials and bounties to farm in the meantime. That would be one thing. But the Season 11 changes are a bandage on the gunshot wound that is Trials of Osiris hemorrhaging players. But increasing tokens, increasing material rewards, is what you do right now. It's not what you do next season to hold players over until you can actually fix the mode 4 to 5 months from now. Season 12 being part of the September release, which actually puts it at the end of September, which means it's part of the September DLC if we even get a September DLC, which also means it could be pushed back to October or November. Remember, Shadowkeep was delayed for some polishing, and it wasn't that big of a DLC. And Bungie was running on full gears, and they just separated from Activision, and They had everything going for them. Now we have current events. So I actually do expect the fall DLC to be pushed back, and I'm not mad about that, but your Trials of Osiris changes that the game should have shipped with, shouldn't be 6 months out. That said, this will likely work out for Bungie because it means Trials of Osiris is essentially relaunching in September, and if you want to be conspiratorial, was probably the plan all along. I mean, let's be real, let's be honest, let's be real honest. This would not be the first time Bungie has released something half-baked, only to fix it for a larger DLC release. I mean, at this point, it's kind of their modus operandi. Release content early, undercooked, or poorly thought out, and then spend the next year fixing it, or gut it from the game. And look, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, I'm just outlining the reality of the situation. We're looking at least September until we get any real changes to Trials of Osiris, unless Bungie outstrips and spanks themselves and manages to deliver everything in Season 11. That's just the reality of the situation, and yeah, I wish I could blame current events for that. And inevitably, when it comes to the larger DLC, in the event that it gets pushed back, current events will likely play a huge factor in that. And I'm completely sympathetic to the fall DLC being pushed back. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the fall DLC is moved into October or November. However, look at the history of Destiny. Releasing something half-baked and then fixing it later is basically how this works at this point. I mean, you can literally set your watch to it. On top of that, we're not talking about a fully fledged product that could justifiably see a delay that everybody would understand. We're talking about a handful of changes to a product that was released half-baked. We're talking about the way that something should have released in the first place, but was rushed to market through either incompetence or because they planned on revamping Trials of Osiris with the fall DLC all along, when more players would be engaged in the game because of the DLC. And what we've been playing with Season of the Worthless was a glorified demo. And if all of that wasn't bad enough, we have gems like this literally on the table for discussion when it comes to preventing cheaters. And I am using enormous fucking sarcastic air quotes when I say preventing cheaters. Quote, "We are changing a key policy. Fire teams of cheaters are no longer innocent. We now reserve the right to restrict or ban any player who has benefited from cheating, even if they didn't cheat themselves. This includes scenarios where players group up or provide account information to guides or carry services, which then cheat on their behalf. We want you to find new friends out there, but be sure they have your trust before you go. If you LFG your way onto a fire team with a cheater, get out and report them. If you ride them to a flawless, the ban hammer will come for you as well." So let me make sure I understand what's going on here. Let me make sure I understand this perfectly fucking crystal clear. We are now punishing players who are already being punished by needing to use an LFG, something that Bungie couldn't be bothered to put in the game in the first place, for playing with cheaters even if they don't know that they're playing with cheaters, because Bungie can't be bothered to actually implement any effectual anti-cheat systems. I mean, if the great and wonderful, super duper awesome anti-cheat tech that Bungie totally developed and totally has working in the game can't detect cheaters, then what luck does some random person have? I guess if you LFG with somebody and they just happen to get a lot of headshots with a sniper, it's not the game, because God knows sniping in this game has so much bullet magnetism, it's not even funny. No. They must be a cheater. So let me go ahead and back out of that game and report that player, and then repost back on the LFG and pray that the next person I get isn't also a cheater, because Bungie can't be bothered to develop adequate anti-cheat. No. The thing that we have to do now is the Destiny version of the Salem witch trials, the Red Scare.
The Spanish Inquisition.
Point a finger at your neighbor and go, well, they played really well that game, so they're probably cheating. It boggles the fucking mind and is an assault on common sense that Bungie would even think to use the player base to police itself, simply because Bungie cannot be bothered to develop adequate anti-cheat technology. And I wish that was the only bad suggestion here, but no, this entire update reads like a litany of bad suggestions. Like, let's charge for Trials of Osiris. You know, that mode that they released half-baked and plan on fixing over the next 6 months, yeah, let's charge for that. Or let's require somebody play 100 hours before they can play Trials of Osiris. Wait a minute, it doesn't take 100 hours to get to the level cap. And I thought the whole point of changing things in Trials of Osiris, making loot more accessible, was so that we could get the weekend warriors back in. You know, people who may just be joining the game for the first time, or coming back to it, or may just not have played 100 hours of the game. I thought the point was to get them back into the game. And again, why are we punishing players for Bungie's fuck-ups? Anything and everything that is suggested that even remotely inconveniences the player because Bungie can't be bothered to develop a good anti-cheat system just needs to fucking go. Like, do not pass go, do not collect $200, take your check, clear your desk, and leave. How about Bungie implements a system like Valorant that if cheating is detected in a match, the match just ends, and the only real inconvenience to anyone involved is starting a new match. How about that? No, too advanced, too thought-provoking. Bungie just needs to pass the burden of cheating onto the player base, because yada 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 yada, we need our Salem witch trials, and everybody is guilty until proven innocent, because they suck at their job. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Remember to like this video if you did, subscribe, and hit that bell notification, because subscribing means nothing to YouTube. Feel free to donate to my Patreon if you are feeling particularly generous, but above all else, stay frosty.